Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In ancient Chinese feng shui and geomancy, the concept of dragon vein is unique and highly significant. Throughout history, countless emperors and rulers hoped to choose a location on the dragon vein to build their tombs. Believing that the dragon vein was not only the lifeline of the earth but also symbolized imperial power and eternal protection. In Chinese history, there are only 3 tombs located along the Kunlun Mountain Dragon Vein, known as the source of the Dragon Vein, and these 3 tombs hold extraordinary significance in both Chinese archaeology and feng shui. Among them, the first tomb remains unopened to this day, with the reason unknown. The second tomb has, for some reason, never been attempted for excavation. As for the third tomb, there are even rumors that mythical beasts guard it, adding to its mystery. So, who exactly are buried in these 3 tombs? Why are they so special? The first is the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, one of the 3 dragon vein tombs. It is one of the most famous tombs in Chinese history and has even been hailed as the 8th wonder of the world. Its mystery and scale continue to attract countless archaeologists and adventurers. Qin Shi Huang, known as the first emperor, began planning his tomb at the age of 13. And it was not completed until 2 years after his death. The tomb is located on the northern slopes of the Qianling Mountains, with Li Mountain to the south and the Weishui River to the north. Why was this location chosen? On the one hand, feng shui masters, after numerous calculations, determined that it was the ideal place for the dragon vein. On the other hand, ancient tomb construction often followed certain rituals. For example, the tombs of Qin Shi Huang's ancestors, including Empress Dowager Qian, were in the Zhejiang region. And according to the tradition of elders to the west, younger generations to the east, Qin Shi Huang's tomb had to be located to the east of Zhejiang, at the foot of Li Mountain. From an environmental perspective, Li Mountain is picturesque, and the surrounding mountains are symmetrically arranged in a curved shape, like the embrace of a range of mountains. The tomb's location is situated right at the center of the mountain range, resembling a pearl embedded within it. Therefore, both from a feng shui standpoint and a ritualistic perspective, the foot of Li Mountain was the ideal site for an imperial tomb. The scale of Qin Shi Huang's tomb is vast, 51 meters high, with a circumference exceeding 1,700 meters, and covering a total area of 56 square kilometers. This immense scale represents the political, economic, cultural, and technological pinnacle of the Qing dynasty. Such a large tomb naturally suggests the possibility of many precious burial items, which has always tempted tomb robbers throughout history. Despite this, Qin Shi Huang's tomb remains intact to this day, buried underground. This is not because tomb robbers have refrained from digging, but because the tomb is simply too difficult to open. The surface of the tomb is covered with a thick layer of earth, reaching a depth of 115 meters. Even after more than 2,000 years of wind and rain, the earth's height still remains at 76 meters. To remove these thick layers of soil would require an enormous amount of labor, far beyond the capacity of a few tomb robbers. Moreover, even if tomb robbers managed to break through the earth's cover, they would still face 2 solid walls, making it impossible to reach the tomb's interior. Even today, with modern heavy machinery, the excavation of Qin Shi Huang's tomb would still be a monumental task. What makes matters even more complicated is that once a hole is drilled and the tomb is breached, outside air would rush in, potentially causing the precious artifacts inside to be damaged due to the sudden environmental change. Furthermore, the tomb is filled with traps, secret passages, and mercury pools, deadly mechanisms that have terrified many archaeologists and tomb robbers alike. A small mistake could result in death. As a result, until archaeological technology matures fully, Qin Shi Huang's tomb remains a mystery. The second tomb is Qianling, which holds a unique position in Chinese history. Not only is it located on the Dragon Vein, but it also stands out because of its distinctive form of joint burial. As the only tomb among the 18 imperial tombs of the Tang dynasty that has not been looted, Qianling's mystery has made it one of the greatest enigmas in history. Construction of Qianling began in the first year of the Hongdao era. Empress Wu Zetian ordered the Minister of Rites to oversee the project, and in the following year, Emperor Gaozong of Tang was buried there. After Wu Zetian's death, she did not choose to build a separate tomb for herself but instead decided to be buried alongside Emperor Gaozong in Qianling. While this may seem like an expression of deep marital affection, there were deeper reasons behind it. Wu Zetian was concerned that the descendants of the Li Tang family might seek revenge on her. So by being buried in Qianling, she effectively created a protective talisman for herself. Qianling is located on Liang Mountain and is adjacent to the other 17 imperial tombs. But in terms of both grandeur and scale, it far surpasses the others. As a result, it is often hailed as the crown of all imperial tombs. During the construction of Qianling, the Tang dynasty was at its peak in terms of national power. The tomb's architecture was exceptionally magnificent, and the burial items were incredibly rich. There were rumors that Qianling contained priceless treasures, including the authentic manuscript of Lanting Su, the preface to the Orchid Pavilion, and experts have speculated that the total weight of the treasures buried there could be no less than 500 tons. However, despite such an immense fortune, Qianling avoided the interference of tomb robbers, which makes its preservation particularly intriguing. The story begins with Wen Tao, known as the Patriarch of Tomb Robbers, who hailed from the Liang state during the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period and served as the military governor of Yaozhou. The imperial tombs of the Tang dynasty were all within his jurisdiction, and Wen Tao took advantage of his position to engage in rampant tomb robbery. He looted 17 of the 18 Tang imperial tombs, but Qianling was the only one he did not dare to touch. Despite having amassed a considerable fortune from his looting, Wen Tao became dissatisfied and began to plot the robbery of Qianling. However, this tomb, located along the Dragon Vein, was different from any other imperial tomb. Every time Wen Tao prepared to make a move, sudden and extreme weather would occur. Ancient records state, Qianling, wind and rain cannot begin. This meant that once anyone attempted to dig into Qianling, violent storms would immediately strike. Whenever Wen Tao was ready to excavate, the weather would become abnormally harsh. And only when he and his crew gave up and left would the weather return to normal. This happened repeatedly, causing Wen Tao to grow uneasy and even suspect that he might have violated some kind of taboo. Eventually, after a failed tomb robbery, Wen Tao was frightened by a thunderstorm and vowed never to mention robbing Qianling again. From that point on, Qianling became a taboo among tomb robbers. However, during the Republic of China period, as warlords rose to power across the country, people began to covet the treasures in Qianling. Sun Lianzhong, a warlord from the northwest, planned to use a military exercise as a cover to blast open Qianling and seize its treasures. But when they began to blow open the tomb passage, a thick smoke suddenly poured out, and the soldiers at the front fell one by one. Faced with the unexpected threat of death, Sun Lianzhong ultimately decided to retreat. Qianling's mystery was once again proven, and its power caused all tomb robbers to keep their distance. From then on, no one dared to disturb it, and it became one of the most untouchable imperial tombs in history. It is worth mentioning that, compared to the tombs of Emperor Qin Shi Huang and Emperor Gaozong of Tang, the tomb of the Yellow Emperor seems to have a somewhat lower profile. However, it is the most mysterious and mythological of the three. And in terms of feng shui, its dragon vein energy is the most authentic and core. As one of the ancestors of the Chinese nation, the Yellow Emperor, alongside the Flame Emperor, laid the foundation of the Huaxia civilization. To honor and revere this great ancestor, later generations constructed the tomb of the Yellow Emperor. The tomb, also known as Qiao Tomb, is located on Qiao Mountain, about 1 kilometer north of Huang County in Yan'an City, Shaanxi Province. The location of the Yellow Emperor's tomb is particularly well thought out. From a feng shui perspective, the entire tomb is constructed around a feng shui axis. This axis not only aligns with the nearby Yintai Mountain but also perfectly matches the orientation of Mount Kunlun. Kunlun Mountain is known as the ancestor of all mountains and the source of the dragon vein, and the Yellow Emperor's tomb, in a fitting manner, inherits the dragon vein energy of Kunlun Mountain. As a result, it is called the first tomb under heaven. The historical and cultural significance of the Yellow Emperor's tomb is exceptional. In front of the tomb stands a Yellow Emperor's hand-planted cypress, over 5,000 years old. According to legend, this tree was personally planted by the Yellow Emperor and is the oldest cypress tree in the world. There are several reasons why the Yellow Emperor's tomb has never been disturbed by tomb robbers. First, as the ancestor of the Chinese people, the Yellow Emperor is revered by all Chinese descendants. And even tomb robbers dare not disturb this tomb. After all, no one wants to abandon their identity as descendants of Nien and Huang. Second, the tomb does not contain the Yellow Emperor's remains. Instead, it is a sacrificial tomb built to commemorate the Yellow Emperor, with no valuable burial items inside. Finally, the Yellow Emperor's tomb has remained untouched by tomb robbers due to a centuries-old folk legend. In ancient Chinese mythology, the Yellow Emperor is believed to be an immortal deity. After defeating Qiyu and leading the Huaxia people to glory, the god sent a great dragon to escort the Yellow Emperor back to the heavens. As the Yellow Emperor ascended, the people were devastated and pulled down some of his garments, burying them on Qiao Mountain. This is said to be the origin of the Yellow Emperor's tomb. Soon after, the god sent another great dragon to guard the tomb. Since then, the Yellow Emperor's tomb has been protected by a mythical creature. Although this is merely a beautiful legend, it deeply reflects the revered status and sacredness of the Yellow Emperor and his tomb in the hearts of the Chinese people. According to relevant historians, the tombs of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, Emperor Gaozong of Tang, and the Yellow Emperor, as typical examples of ancient Chinese tombs, carry not only the relics of history but also profound cultural significance. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.